What up, outliers? What up, apes? What up, outlier apes? It's bring your dog Thor to work day. You could tell he's clocked in, ready to lock in. And we're talking about GameStop today. You know, we have to talk about GameStop. And it's because take a look at this big giant candle for today. Here we are plugging along, just cruising along, actually hit a low of the day, 26.15 at 10:15 Pacific time. And then we get to 10:45. And what do you notice at 10:45 Pacific time? He saw it. He's actually the one that called it out. What we see is a massive candle emerge from the ocean. We had a low on this candle of 26, 27, and a high of 30. Yeah. 10+% move on a single candle within 15 minutes. That typically happens on some pretty big news. Take a look at the volume. Volume is mellow, 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 and then boom, massive volume. So what happened in this time period? You know what happened? Boom. The cat returns yet again. Now, as most of you hopefully know by now, I am but a humble trader. I do not know all of the ins and outs of all these different memes and what they mean. I actually have no clue. That's your expertise, and that's what I lean on you all for to help me with to understand what this might mean, because I don't know. What I do know is that it says time on the top. There's a blank screen with this fuzzy thing in it. Obviously, the time thing is very specific. We have 420 end time, 420 joke, and then 109, that's 69 seconds in case those are wondering. So 69, 420. Just playing games there. That's what I see. I don't know how accurate that is, and I don't know what this means. I also don't know anything about time. Maybe he's just wanting you to look at the time. I don't know any of that. So you all will have to tell me what's going on here. But I want to talk about what happened in GameStop. I want to talk about on a short-term time frame why this move is so interesting, and I want to take a look at the options markets because they also hold a couple things that I find curious. So first things first, I want to start with this. The tweet comes out at 10:45, driving this massive movement. Cool, great. Let's come into a 1 minute time frame and 10:45 again. So within 60 seconds, volume expands from 93,000 the candle before to 1.8 million in 60 seconds. What I want to highlight here is that ever so clearly is not retail. That's not retail that did this. This isn't the people on X. It's not the people on Superstonk or other communities that saw this and jumped into the fray within 60 seconds, driving up volume to 1.8 million. This highlights the thing a lot of people in GameStop talk about, and a lot of people that are external to the GameStop story will kind of look at it and say like, yeah, whatever. And clearly this is automation. There's algorithms that are ever so clearly watching everything that happens on his accounts and front running a prospective move. And they were correct. Whatever things were doing this were correct. So let's actually zoom this in even more because it's kind of fascinating to me. So that's within a 5 minute time frame. We come in here to a 1 minute time frame. Let's take a look. We have to zoom in a little bit. And again, right at that 10:45 handle of that 1.8 million that I told you about in the 5 minute candle, in this 1 minute candle, it's 1.5 million shares that moved. And for context, the 1 minute candles before, you can look at the volume 20 and the volume 5 preceding it. The volume 5 is 319,000. The volume 20 is 92,000. That's the average number of shares over the prior 5 and 20 minute periods. Meanwhile, this 20 minute period is 1.5 million. Huge, huge move. And it all happened insanely fast. So that is something I think is generally known. I don't think this is breaking any new ground, but it's something that I do feel like traders absolutely have to be aware of. And the reason why I think it's so important for retail traders to be aware of this is because if a retail trader starts to see this kind of movement, the fervor is generally strong and people really want to get in as fast as they can. And most of the retail traders that I know, they're people that still work normal jobs. They're trying to get in on their coffee break or whatever. And they're not going to catch this news instantaneous like this is. They're going to catch this news 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, half hour late, few hours late, whatever. They're going to catch it now during this video. And the problem there is by that time, so much price action has already occurred driven by automation that by the time retail starts to get in, sometimes it can start reversing and selling off, right? So if you think of the person that checked in on their lunch break and they got in at 11:55 Pacific time, well, they really saw a rally from 30 to 30 and 76 cents and then all the way back down to 28. So I just want that message to be known that it's good to be excited. It's good to be quick and react to news as it's unfolding, but there's just very clear signs of automation in here. You're not going to outpace that. So you have to be kind of judicious in your entry selections here, because if you're trying to play the really short-term moves that happen like this, you're late to the punch almost inherently just being a retail trader. And if you're anything other than a fully dedicated trader that's not doing anything other than looking at this, you're going to be late. I didn't even catch it right away. And I watched this stuff like a hawk and I got alerts and stuff like that. It takes me a few seconds to open up devices, log in, whatnot. And it's not instantaneous. So just keep that in mind, because it's always a bummer for me to see people getting caught with these really high cost basis on a relative level because of this kind of thing. But it is something to keep an eyeball on, that's for sure. So the price today was great. And I even talked about this before. I think the price the past couple of days has been great, even though that there's these down moves. That doesn't scare me. That's normal price movement in a stock. You need to see it because there has to be an exchange of supply and demand. So the fact that it's been holding these levels the past couple of days is beautiful. And the fact that it still held it today is also beautiful. I definitely don't want to see it drop below 25.5. So we still have a little time, and we are definitely coming in on earnings on the 10th of December, which will be a pretty big thing. So off over to what I do, the options chain. So what are we seeing here? Well, the first thing I can tell you is the front volatility jacked, absolutely jacked. It was over 270 earlier when I made a post on X. I don't know if you call it Xing or tweeting on X. Do you X on X? I don't know what it is, but doing the thing on X, this was over 270. And you can see this front expiration is so heavy. My guess is the market probably saw that there wasn't massive buying behavior that they thought could have been him, which we'll talk about. Now, there was tremendous call volume today, massive call volume. There was 495,000 calls traded against 91,000 puts. So huge call volume. And the overwhelming majority of that volume, as expected, is in the 6Ds and 13Ds timeframes. The reason why that's as expected is because whenever we see something like this go on, everybody plays the front expiration almost always. And unfortunately, my guess is a lot of these people are just lighting money on fire. I never want to see it happen, but unless there's some sort of indication of a sustained move or something like that, these are going to decay away super fast. So if we go to 6 December, which is tomorrow's expiration, we can see like this here. There was 60,000 of the 30s that transacted. And you can see before today, people were unwinding the 30s. We literally can see that the net change in OI over yesterday was 1,072. So this was paring down as people were moving out in expirations, but today people are just dogpiling in massive amounts of people. 60,000 volume here. So big short-term expectations from people. And we've seen this before. Yeah, we'll kind of see how it goes. The thing that I kind of key into from a longer-term time frame as I like to look, the move up into this has been pretty strong. We had a high volume day today, which is always a big thing to keep an eyeball on. But it's still a little early, in my opinion, to make any big decisions about whether or not we think that there's going to be a massive continuation here or not. That normally takes a few days to transpire, right? So you can see this even back during these prior expansion periods where volume went from 8.6 to 36. So massive volume expansion. And then it's still, trended sideways for a little bit before rocket shipping up and out. So this is like really early days, in my opinion, to try to identify if anything's going on here. So Back into the rest of the options though. And I wanted to take a look at TNS, time and sales, see if anything really stuck out to me there. And let me show you this. When I first posted this, and I actually think I can grab it on X from my account here. I first posted this, and you can see when I posted this, this was at 11:09 Pacific time. I was sorting by premium, and the largest premium trades here were 100,000 and change. So that's when I first saw this. And I thought, okay, so not like a massive move going on here just yet, still kind of early days, but we'll see. And take a look at what happened the rest of the day. We did see some really, really big trades come in, but a lot of them are at the bid. So we have people in 17 Jan 25, still 43 days left to go. And these are people that almost assuredly are taking these down on pretty big profit because there was a nice big run today. I was fortunate. I had covered calls, not covered, as you all know, it's always at a ratio for me, but I had short calls against the long shares that I took off as soon as I saw that news because they were still in profit. I didn't want to get ran over to the upside, which I was pleased that I did. So lots of people are just managing positions that they're holding on days like this to kind of see how the dust settles. But most of the bigger trades that we saw today look like unwinds, as I would fully expect. There's a little over $500,000 trade, $287,000 trade here. So big people unwinding. In terms of people accruing, not as big, but this one stuck out to me big time. 771 days to expiration. The 55 calls super far out of the money from where it sits now. And this is a $250,000 trade. Just very interesting. And this is one I'm going to keep an eyeball on. This popped on an alert for me for volume over OI. But I thought that that was real curious. Most of the other trades today were either, take a look at this, we see another 771 day. This was 155,000. And then we have some short term. These are on the buy sides for these calls, 22 days to expiration, 15 days to expiration. So these are people playing front moves, expected front moves. 8 days is all super short term timeframes. So this is interesting to see, but there's nothing jumping out at me from an options trading perspective that's like, yeah, okay, something huge is going on here. It's just too early to tell, I believe. Now, the other thing is looking back over the past couple of days this week for context, we can see that, well, one, I don't know why. Oh, I guess the data from today isn't integrated yet. I don't know why that. Oh, because I didn't include today because I'm an idiot. I was wondering why the volume wasn't there. I meant to click this. I was like, where did everything go? It's right here. So as we look back through the rest of this week, there was definitely some bigger trades, but just overall lighter premium sizing. And this has been the case for weeks now. We're still seeing things over 100,000 pretty regularly, but nothing too noteworthy in my opinion. So very, very fun. I'm very curious to know what you all think the post was today, what that was all about. It doesn't look like there's crazy options activity going on in here just yet. We know that there was a lot of stock activity going on without a doubt because volume shot up as people were trading, but we have to see where it goes from here. So let me know what you think the tweet or X was all about, and then also where you think price is going from here. And do we close above 30 tomorrow? That's the big question. As always, let me know if there's anything you want me to take a look at. Any questions, be an outlier. I'll see you all later.